Well, good afternoon, my friends. Welcome to the NeedleBugg. My name is Karen, and today we are going to do a bit of a hard hanger stitch along. Haven't done a hard hanger one in quite some time. But first, I want to welcome all of the new subscribers. Thank you so much for clicking on the channel and giving it a chance. And I do hope you find something here that you enjoy and will continue to hang out with me. And to all my returning friends, thank you so very much for coming back and hanging out despite all the technical difficulties. Those of you who watched my last video will know what I mean. And I did figure out what the problem was, and it has been fixed. It was some internet security software that I had put on. It just messed with this computer. It messed with my iPhone. It messed with my iPad. It just, yeah. It just was awful. So that has all been deleted. I have gone to another internet security that is protecting my network. So I do believe this is much better. And this video is not only going to be about doing hard hanger, it's also going to be testing, am I still going to have kerfluffles? But I hope not. I don't think that that's going to be the case. It should be fine. So today, again, we're going to do a video about hard hanger. And I want to start out this video with something that I tried that is new to me. It's not by any means new to hard hanger, but it's new to me. And I thought I would share it. Julie, I hope you don't mind. If you don't watch Running with Scissors, Stitching with Jane and Julie, please go check out their channel. They are a hoot, and I just love watching their videos every time they come out. And they play off of each other, and they fit so well together. Their videos are just a joy to watch. Julie is Julie Norton, who is the author of the book, Take the Hard Out of Hard Hanger. And I've had a copy for a long time, and I often will pull it out and peruse through it or, look something up or what have you. And I don't know, this goes back a little while ago. I was looking at how she starts and ends her threads. And I'm going, I was a little skeptical. And I thought, do I want to try this or don't I? So I sent Julie an email and I asked her about how secure this way of starting is. Now, she assured me that she's been using this method for 20 plus years and has never had a problem. So I thought, okay, still a little skeptical. Okay, Julie, it's not that I didn't believe you, but I am the kind of person who needs to try it for myself and test it and find out. So I did just that. I tried it. Okay, now a lot of times you can't tell, is this going to work or not work until you're well finished with the piece, you're using the piece, you're going to wash it, and at that point you go, I hope those starts and stops don't come undone. But it just so happened that I tested both start and stopping, and I made a major counting error because I fight putting in basting lines. And I usually just will take my needle and do one of these things and just kind of go across and say, yeah, okay, that lines up, and yeah, that lines up. And I just usually run my needle along the fabric threads. Unless it's a really big distance, then I will break down and put some basting lines in. But it's not all that often. So I thought, okay, I made this mistake, and I had a visit with the frog. And I had to rip out places that used this start. And I thought, darn, these stitches don't want to come out as easy as the others. Because normally what I do, and especially the way I started or used to start, was because I would go flip over to the back and run underneath cluster blocks, and I would do the loop over the first stitch in both directions, and change direction, loop again, come back, and that's how I ended thread. So I always ended up with long tails worked in. So when I had to frog, normally what I do is I put my scissors underneath here and I clip all of these, so that when I go to the back, I just pull on those long tails that are worked in, and all of this stuff just falls right out. Well, because I used Julie's method, it didn't work that way. And I would get to the block that had either a start or an end in it, and it would go, oh, this is a little bit more work to frog. And as I'm doing that, I'm thinking, yep, Julie, you're absolutely right. So I sent her another email to tell her my story and how I need to learn how to count once again and all of that, and sent her an update of how I made out with it. And of course, I got an email back thanking me for trying it and liking it and all of that good stuff. So if you don't watch them, please go watch them. But what I'm going to share with you today is how she starts her threads, and hopefully I am understanding the technique correctly. I think so, because I think I had a little problem ripping it. So I need to start a new thread now. Pardon me. So we are going to do that. But first, let me say this. I almost forgot, and then I will start my thread. The chart I'm working on is I took the inspiration from a piece I was going to do. I bought a book for it. And I got, as I was working on it, I more and more was getting the feeling, oh my God, this is going to take me as long as a heaven and earth design to stitch, because it was a rather large design. It had a lot of cutting and wrapping. It had a lot of intricate stitches and all of that. So I thought, you know what? Let's chop this down to a more reasonable size. So I did that, and my intent was to change some filling areas and what have you. Well, your head starts, my head starts going, oh, well, what if maybe I can change this some more. So ultimately, I ended up revamping this design several times. So what I'm saying, bottom line, is I took the inspiration from the sampler or the runner in the book, but I have redesigned it to make it my own. So let me show you this is a rough outline of the doily. There are no filling stitches in it. That will be accomplished as I move along with it. So this is, oh, that little light is a little glary. This is the design that I ultimately came up with at this point. Now, it is a little hard to see because, well, I can't make it darker here on my iPad. But let me try and show you on this part, see if I can shrink it. Oh, undo all of that. Look, you're marking off the chart, Karen. You need to switch to this. Okay, let's see if you can see it a little better here. Not a whole lot better, but you get the idea. Okay, so these large areas here will all get filled in some manner of filling, either filling stitches or surface stitches or what have you. Okay, but I have not determined that yet, and to be perfectly honest with you, it will be a determine as I go kind of thing, because that's pretty much just how I roll. Whenever I get to that section, I will decide what it's going to be. Now, I only have to make those decisions for a quarter of the design because it's going to repeat itself all the way around. But here's the thing. If you are a subscriber to the channel, or you subscribe as a result of this video, I will gift you this chart. But you must be a subscriber or subscribe to as of this video. Okay? And I will gift this. You just need to shoot me an email and I will send you a copy of the chart. Right now, because Pattern Keeper does not do back stitching, and these are charted as back stitches. Okay, so each of those little tick marks that you see, first of all, they indicate the direction of the cluster block, but they're a little back stitch, and each square is 5 satin stitches over 4 threads of fabric. Okay, I will put that on the chart so that you know how that works. Okay, if you have done hardanger, it probably will be easy for you to understand. Okay, but if you are not a subscriber, I will not send it. If you are a subscriber, I will gift you this chart. Okay, so all that being said, I'm going to show you now how Julie starts her threads. Okay, and like I said, you really want to go watch them because they just complement each other so well. Okay, so what we do is, pardon my shaky hands. Okay, let's see if I can get up here close enough. And I do put my fabric loosely in a hoop so that I can just control it a little better. Okay, I have trouble bunching it all up in my hands. So what I'm going to do is come over here where my next block is going to be. And I'm going to try very hard to stay in the frame. I know, and I tend to pull things towards me, and I tried to have this where I can stay in the frame pretty easily. So this is the space I want to go down in, right here, or come up in, whichever. So I am going to go 2 threads away from that and up 3 threads of fabric. Okay, because our blocks are 5 satin stitches over 4 fabric threads. So I want this little, I'm going to call it a tacking stitch. And Julie, if you call it something else, please, if you're watching this, let me know that so that I used your correct terms. So I've come up 2 threads over, 1, 2, 3 threads up. Okay, now I am going to count down 2 threads, put my needle down through the fabric, and then come up where I'm going to, okay, here, I'm going to come up where I start my block. Okay, so I'm going to start my block 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You're covering the middle 2 threads that you're going to cover for your cluster block. Now, I will also say that compared to most people, I stitch my blocks backwards from what most people do because I prefer to stitch towards myself as opposed to away. So now I'm going to go, I counted 1 too many again. Oh, Karen, see, you need to learn to count. 1, 2, there we go. Now we're finally in the right spot. Okay, so now I'm going to go up my 4. Okay, and I'm going to make my blocks as usual. Now here's my logic. I came up in this hole, went down in this hole so that I get a longer thread from here to here, which gives me more working thread to get stitched over, which holds it in place. And then from here over till I complete the block, I'll be working over this tail. So that's what holds it in place. Okay, so now okay, and when you have thread that's a little fuzzy, you miscount also. So here we go again. I'm going to cut some of this out, folks, so you don't have to watch me do all these error of my ways. Okay, so here we go. This is how you do it. Okay, you're going to make an away thread. You're going to count, get your fuzzies out of the way. For some reason, I got fuzzies here. 1, 2, 3, 4, over 2, down 1. And I am going to come up. Let me do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 2, down 1. I'm going to come up here. Okay. I'm going to leave an away tail. I'm going to count down 2 threads and go back down through the fabric. Okay, so now I'm going to come up 4 threads from the last cluster block. But before I go too far, because we know Karen is counting challenged at this point, I'm going to just travel my way across here just to make sure I'm 1 thread off. Now the other thing you can do is lay this right along that fabric thread. Now we're good. Okay, so now, again, what you want is I came up and I went down below it so that when I go up to my starting point, I have more thread to work over. And then I'll be working over this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, I have that down 1 thread too far, but that's okay because we're going to cover it anyway. 1, 2, as I said, I do my blocks a bit backwards from what other people do. And just because that's first of all, I'm self-taught. I think most of you know that. Second of all, I did have a mentor that I worked with for 2 years on all kinds of counted thread techniques. And her philosophy, which I rather enjoyed, was ergonomically, it's easier to work towards yourself than it is away from yourself. Most hardanger instructions teach you to work away from yourself. I, on the other hand, work towards myself. Okay, except here I'm going up. So let's just double check this one, and yep, right on the money. That's why I don't do basting lines. See, if you run your needle right across, you're kind of scoring. They call it scoring your fabric, and it puts me right even with that one. So I can run it across and tell. Now I need 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I'm going to turn my fabric this way and do 9. Now, do you also see what's happening? My thread is kind of like losing its twist. When it does that, just hold it up and twirl it in your fingers, and you can twist it up again. To see how it makes a difference. Three. 4. And I'm going to cut that off now. And 5. I'm going flip this over. And I am going to cut that off and get rid of it so it stops pesting me. Okay, so here we are from the front. Here is now your back. Looks just like the front. Okay, so you don't see, well, there's where I ended this one. Here's where I started this one. So other than that, which I could clip off a bit closer, you can't tell where your starts and ends are. So your back is going to be just as nice as your front. And that really is the goal when you're doing hardhanger. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So this is okay, I did that one, so I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is 9. Okay. All right. So I have had quite a few people contact me about hardhanger and the information that I have been handing out to people that are just starting. So if you're also interested in getting that, you just need to shoot me an email. Now, in the subject line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, please note that it is hardhanger chart / information if you want both. If you just want the chart, put hardhanger chart so that I know and it doesn't get lost among other emails. And like I said, I will get that out to you. So now we're going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 12 blocks down this way. Okay. Now I could have, and I didn't, put this chart up on the screen because it is my chart and I am giving it away, so I don't have to worry about any copyright infringements. But for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to mention that in this video, and I will mention it on my cross-stitch videos. I am not going to show charts anymore. Granted, when you're doing a stitch with me, we're not showing the whole chart. For it is just a small section of the chart. Okay. However, think about this. You watch so-and-so's videos all the time. You follow their journey from start to finish on a project. Every time they do a video, they show a small section of the chart. Depending on how many stitch with me's they do, or how fast they stitch, you could possibly, via screenshots, and there are people that devious, you could potentially get the whole chart. So I am going to not show my charts anymore. I am just going to do the stitch with me. If I have something specific that I want to explain that will require the chart, I am just going to put a cropped portion of just that, maybe 10 by 10 square. But yeah, I'm just not going to do it anymore. I don't want to I don't want to be in a position where tentatively there could be a copyright violation. So that's just my thought on it and what my plan is for future videos. And really, you're more interested in watching the actual stitching, or bottom line, a lot of people are just more interested in the chatter that goes along with it, and really only look up when there's something that they feel of interest to see. So I've decided, I made an administrative decision to not include a section of the chart on my videos anymore. So that's that. Now, back to Hardanger. As you see here, Karen made her thread way too long because it's getting all tangled up. I do that sometimes. I thought, I don't want to have to change it so often, so yeah, it gets a little long. There we go. But I don't know how a lot of you stitch, but as I said, for me, it is a lot easier to stitch towards myself as opposed to away from myself. Now, it does require an ability to manipulate your needle comfortably, because okay, here you can see, all right, that's the way we all always hold our needles to sew. Okay, so that is a pretty common generic way to do the sewing method, where you're just going like this and pulling it through, and that's pretty comfortable and easy to do. But now I have to go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to here and come up here. So, that's a different way of manipulating the needle. And if you watch closely, you can see that your thumb becomes important to push that fabric down so that you can come up in the correct spot. Because if you don't, and you just try and do this, well, okay, yeah, you can do it, but it's easier if you're pushing down, and you can find that hole easier. Okay, not everybody does that. And people that, I haven't worked away from myself for so long that I don't know I don't know how I would have to change the angles of my needle to accomplish it. Okay, let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. 2, 4, 6, or 8. Yeah, and you'll notice I tend to count in twos as opposed to stitches. Okay, and I'm going to move my hoop a little bit. This hoop, again, okay, I should talk about that a little bit. This hoop does not have the lip. Okay, do you see that? There's no lip. And there's nothing on this side. I'm not going to tell you how old this hoop is. It is so old that you can't find any like this anymore. Everything you find now has the lip. And when I'm doing hardanger, I don't want a lip on it because I don't want it to hold my fabric that tight. I want to be able to put my fabric in it loosely. And I just, just enough to put it in there so that it just gives me something to hold on to. That's all I'm looking at from the hoop, because I have trouble with this thumb. It had basal joint arthritis, and I've had surgery in it, and I just like to give it a little extra support. But I don't want to. If you have hoops that have the lip on, I would suggest just turn the inner hoop upside down so that you're not using the lip to do your fabric. But I just keep it on loosely so that I can have enough play to manipulate the fabric. It helps me control the fabric. And that's the only reason I use it. The other thing I like about this particular hoop is the fact that it's a 4-inch hoop as opposed to a 5 or a 6 or whatever. Because again, my philosophy is I don't want a hoop bigger than the size of my hand. So you can see, here's my thumb, here's my fingers. It fits in my hand. I can feel everything on the back. Again, another important feature of a smaller hoop. But again, that's just me. You can do it however works best for you. Okay? Now, it doesn't look like I'm going to end this thread anytime soon. But I will show you how I'm ending threads now. So let me 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay, I'm going to end it here just so I can show you this. And then I have plenty of thread to restart again. Okay, so if this is where I am running out of thread and I need to start another thread. So, okay, say this is pretty short. All right, instead of coming up here, the other thing is, do not start and end threads in the middle of a cluster block. If you don't have enough thread to finish your 5 satin stitches, end your thread before you start. Don't start in the middle, okay? So, my 5 are done. I need to end my thread. I'm going to pull my thread to the back. Okay, now this is a little tricky, and you're gonna have to, it's by feel, because you're not going to be able to see exactly what you're doing. It is by feel. What you want to do is you want to go under this block, but when you go under, you want to dip down. You want to pick up fabric threads without altering the satin stitch on the front, and then you want to come out this other side. Okay, so when I went through here, I tilted my needle down to pick up some fabric threads, but when I flip it over, I don't want to see my needle here on the top. Now, you can see that I might have caught the one satin stitch just a little bit because it's pulled. However, we're going to fix that, okay? So, as long as I didn't come all the way through to the front, I'm okay with that. All right? So now I'm going to pull this through, and then we'll look and see what it did to the front. Okay? So there, you don't see anything on the front. And if this is pulled a little tight, you can always use your needle and try and fluff it up a little bit. Okay? Then I'm going to go over the first leg, back through that block, and pull it through. And then I'm going to do that again, over the first leg, back through that block, pull it through, and then I'm going to cut this off right at the edge of the block. That will secure your thread, and you will not see the end. So your back is going to look just like your front. Okay, so that's the biggest thing I wanted to show you today. And since we are now at about 45 minutes, I think we will just call this a wrap for today. I will remind you that if you would like a copy of the chart, if you just send me an email that says Hardanger chart, I will email you a PDF copy of the chart. However, it will not work in Pattern Keeper because it's all back stitches. You can put it into Goodreader. I believe it will go into Good Notes. It should go into like your XODO or another PDF reader. That should work. I personally have it in Markup RXP, and as you see, it comes up just fine because that does read back stitches. So those would be the options for you. But you need to be a subscriber, or if you are not currently a subscriber, if you subscribe as a result of this video, then I will send you the chart. You must request it. You must send me the email. In the subject line, you say Hardanger chart. If you are new to Hardanger and you would also like my handouts that I give when I'm teaching a Hardanger class, I will also include that. Just put a /info, Hardanger charts /info. And then I would encourage you to go back and to watch the videos on Let's Learn the Basics of Hardanger. They're in a playlist. They are all together. There's 5 or 6 in that series that you can watch. If you have questions, shoot me an email. Okay? So, with that, my friends, I am going to bid you all farewell. I hope you have a wonderful week. Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. And if you don't do Hardanger yet, I hope you give it a try. It's really, not hard at all. You can count to 5, you can do a satin stitch, and you can change directions of those stitches. So check out the Hardanger Basics and Beyond, and yeah, give it a shot. Let me know if you have questions. So with that, my friends, I will say have a great week, and I will see you in the next